Last year, we left off right on the verge of a mutant apocalypse, with the Hellfire Club and the mutants. Oh yeah, and the fact that Disney was in the middle of buying 20th Century Fox, so who knew what was going to happen with this show?
Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing.
Gifted Season 2, eMergence. The M's for mutant, I take it. Are all of them going to be capital M's? Let me just check. Yep, my TV guide says that they're all going to be capital M's. Well, I guess I can count that as one step better than the X's. Still weird, but I guess they're going with a theme. Alright, so the Struckers are still the main characters, and we still have a lot going on, including the fact that there's a pair of Omega level mutants. And I'm not sure exactly where they're going because if the rumors are true about the acquisition, which has gone through for all intents and purposes, they're just finishing up. That means that Marvel's going to be in charge of the Fox stuff, including the mutant stuff, very shortly. And there's a lot of rumors about bringing the X-Men into the MCU, and I really hope they don't. I think the mutants work better on their own. Bringing them into the MCU dilutes them, because why would the world hate and fear some superheroes but not others? I don't know, it just seems weird to me. But before we go any further, for those of you that don't know, what I do here is I review stories, I come up with theories on how and why we tell stories, and in general this is one big thought experiment into getting into the head of storytellers and why it's important that we tell stories. If that sounds interesting, click subscribe and join our little community here. But alright, right now we have the Fenris twins. However, unlike in the comics where they were adults, we have them as kids. Now, yeah, they say that the Fenris twins were actually adults and that these are their great grandkids. We also have Sentinel Services instead of Sentinels. But in general, we have what has been so far a really great series. But there's a little bit to unpack. I'm really hoping that the beginning of this episode was just a little off. Because last year, what I loved best about this show was they showcased that there were good people on both sides. You know, that thing that people say was so horrible. But you know what? They did a really great job of showing that it's a complex issue and not something that could just be broken down by the good guys beat the bad guys. Because there were good guys, and there were bad guys, and there were good guy humans, and there were bad guy mutants. And that made it complex and good. But at the beginning of this episode, it just felt like they ripped a lot of that away with the inner circle. But either way, I'm curious, who do you fight for? The inner circle or the mutant resistance? Let's throw this up there and get started.
So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time.
I don't know how, but I managed to avoid spoilers this whole time, so I didn't even know the names of the episodes going into this episode. So the fact that they jumped all the way to Lorna's pregnant, from Lorna's pregnant to Lorna's ready to give birth, meant that there were quite a few things to catch up on. Like I said, the beginning of the episode was a little weird, with the inner circle being killed by one member that we had never met before, who I guess was really in charge of the whole project that happened last year. And I was all like, meh, evil for evil's sake. We could have kinda not needed that. And yeah, I realized that the inner circle are the bad mutants I was talking about. So, the Fenris twins, the Van Strucker kids, are separated. But really quickly we find out that at least one of them is dreaming about the other one. And that makes sense. Their powers connect them. Not just when they touch, but in general. So that gives them a little bit of an edge. And of course we know it's real because of the new look that the boy has. But okay. Everyone else has gone through major or minor changes. Like I said, Polaris is fully pregnant, about to give birth. Blink is all of a sudden got contacts and makeup so she looks normal and is in a relationship with Thunderbird. Eclipse is on his last nerve, and the Van Struckers are trying to just lead somewhat normal lives while helping the mutant underground. Of course, the big one here is Little Miss Magneto's daughter. She has a contraction and boom, almost rips apart a car. And I understand where the doctor's coming from. Hey, maybe you might want to just take a little bit of a chill pill. And partially this is pretty much where I thought last season was going to get to, but we just jumped to it, so that was a little weird. The Cuckoos are still, well, psychopathic and hot and, well, super telepaths. But like I said up top, the Struckers are really the main characters still. And I find that really interesting, because in a show full of powerful mutants that we have seen from the comics, they could have put anyone in the forefront. Putting what's basically just a normal family there, what is basically just mom and dad and 2 kids, really kind of gives it a bit of oomph. I did especially love the fact that Mom Strucker was the one that had to threaten the computer dude. Speaking of which, I don't know who Wire is. He's not a name I'm familiar with, but I love the idea of a technopath that can interact with computers in their mind. That's one of my favorite superpower type genre things. But okay, so we have the Inner Circle, we have the Mutant Resistance, and we have the Sentinel Services, although they really didn't get any representation in last night's episode. And now we have this little conflict. I'm curious if there's a side on the human side that's like the Mutant Resistance, the good guys. I'm also kind of curious what's going on with Mr. Strucker. But mostly, I want to know what this chick's whole deal is with her sonic scream. Is she supposed to be Banshee or something like it? I just don't know. Right now, we've got a bunch of plot lines running, a decent start to the season, although not a great one, and I'm curious where we're going. And of course, we have the fact that we have a baby on the way. So overall, I'm enjoying this, and I don't want to see the MCU take it over. What about you? Would you rather see this start over as an MCU property, or would you rather see this continue as is? And what did you think of the opening episode? Let me know down in the comment section. Before you do keep in mind that I'm making a pretty good push for my Patreon to try to help me get more of these videos made and have more time to review these shows. Right now I don't have anyone to thank, but I will hopefully shortly. In the meantime, even if you can't do that, if you could at least like and share this video, and of course, if you haven't already, click that subscribe button, and join our little community here one way or another, because what we're doing is we're taking apart what it means to be a storyteller, how and why we tell stories, and let's be honest, in this day and age, looking at a rather political and restrained look at prejudice and in general persecution, it's probably something we need to do. Last year I thought this was a great representation of that, and I want to see what happens this year. Any way you look at it, thank you for walking with me through the heart of Gifted.